This what I'm showing you here on this template in black is the Zia template numbers that are applied with its exact numbers that are to it. 2600 for north, 1300 for south, 6.50 for west, 1950 for east, and all that's in black, including the lines, are the Zia template. But what you see in red are the numbers for the Hawaiian Star Compass. The Hawaiian Star Compass has certain numbers that start with a major one, and it goes doot, 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 and it hits another major one, doot, 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 doot. And if you'll notice, all of the red dots correspond to the same numbers that are on the Zia template. In other words, it's one and the same. The only difference is that they don't have the numbers like I have for directional numbers, and they don't have the spokes of the rays like I do on my template.
What they do is they have directions based on constellations, so they tell you if something's northeast, northwest,
No,
and it's very
I got
specific.
equations and I got templates and I got the alignments and all that,
Oh,
and they make their little things out of sticks and stones with
oh,
no numbers or equations. I mean, they have the
yeah.
right template, but they don't have the
Oh, the
numbers
math. You're talking
or
about
the
the math.
math or the equations. They got the template and everything that goes with it. They just don't
Well,
have the fine detail that goes
I was
with it.
gonna say it's useful, it's functional for navigating.
Yeah, but what they don't know is that they're looking at it while it's flat. I'm going to put it against my little template now. Now, show the north and the west. North, well, I'll put it the way the directions are. North is that way, south is that way. Well, what's wrong about the directions?
What?
West isn't that way, that's east. East isn't that way, that's west. So it makes no sense, right?
Okay. Yep.
Now watch. You take the same template, hold 650 where the west is, this finger, 1950 where the E is, where the east is, the same north, the same south, point it toward Polaris or the North Star. You take the template, and if you can, laminate it. If you're going to be out in the ocean, it'll keep it waterproof that way. And then when you go out to your ship, and in the nighttime, you put it above your head, north to south. Let me see if I can set it here so it'll be easier to see.
Right.
So when you got it north to south, now look where the east is at. It's pointing to the east now when you put it over your head. And look at the west. Now it's pointing to the west where it's supposed to be. West corresponds to 6.50. And the next is 19.50 over here. And any increment from there, 4.8, 7.5, 3.25, 1.625, all the way through here, y'all can be calculated. And all you got to do to find those calculations is align yourself from here to there and follow it. And then put this to the North Star. And every night go out and look over the horizon, put this over your head, and make sure you're staying on course. Like say, I want to go direct east. How do I do that? Simple. I don't go to the direct east until the equinox. 1 week before the equinox, or maybe even 2 weeks. Why? You give it enough time ahead of the equinox, you get in front of the sun, and every morning you put this over your head and you see where it says 19.5. That's where the sun is going to rise. Every morning, all you got to do is sail toward the rising sun. And in a week's time, you're going to be at 19.50. Or you could be going directly from Hawaii at 19.50, a straight line to Teotihuacan, Mexico at 19.50.
Well, there's other 1950 connections around the world too.
Mumbai, India. There's even 19.5 in the southern hemisphere. The Atacama Giant is 19.50. It's all measured the same. The northern hemisphere is mirrored the same way in the southern hemisphere. Everything that's happening on the eastern side is the same thing happens here on the western side. Everything that's going on at Skinwalker Ranch at 39.109, and if you go directly to the other side of the ocean to 39, it'll take you to Pakistan, Afghanistan, And you know what is theoretically located at 3900 on the other side of the world?
What?
The entrance to Agartha. What are they finding at Skinwalker Ranch? A lot of caves, a lot of underwater tunnel systems, and things they're finding that are under the surface near that mesa and all of that. So what does that tell me? If that is Agartha's entrance on the other side of the world, and 39 on this side of the world corresponds to that side of the world, then this Skinwalker Ranch is potentially the entrance to Aztlan.
Agartha, Aslan.
All use cave systems to get to them.
Wow.
Unitah Basin, full of caves. Himalaya Mountains, full of caves. Oh?
That's cool. And so, like, your trade routes that you've been explaining, these are the ones that are basically marked out here on this wall.
Mumbai, India, 19.50. It's in Mumbai, India. And then 19.50 is Teotihuacan, 19.50.
Wow.
Same numbers.
And then those rays, that's the 16 ray Zia layout to move around the world. That's why it's like at the center point.
And those 16 rays start at the Sandia, and these are the beginning of those 16 rays starting in New Mexico. And those 16 rays, as they expand across the entire globe, the 16 rays as they expand across the entire world. This right here, it tells you the exact trade routes of the main trade routes for everything in
that
South
one right
America.
there is Easter Island.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Easter Island was connected to trade here because there's 3 islands that are here. The most western island was used for trade to Asia and Polynesia. The center island was used to trade to the North America and coming down this way on here. And the most eastern island was the island that was used to connect over here to South America to trade into Peru. There's 3 islands there that this went down to. That went there, and there.
Oh, can you talk a little bit about the connection with Easter Island to the Chinook or the Clatsop Nehilim?
Oh, no, there's really no connection between me and the class of Nehilim with one Easter Island. I can tell you who's connected to it.
Oh, who?
Easter Island is located at the 109th longitude, which is the same longitude for a place called Canyon de Chelly. Do you know where that is?
That's in Chinle, Arizona.
Between Canyon de Chelly and Window Rock is another 109th degree longitude. What else is at 109th degree longitude? Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, dang. And they say that's where Spider Woman lives, over at Spider Rock in Canyon de Chelly. So
Well,
over that way, there's that.
It tells me that Skinwalker isn't an all Dene tradition. You Utes take notice of this. From what I'm understanding is that there's skinwalkers within the Ute tribe that you're not telling us about.
But they're everywhere.
And you're a brown...
I was going to say they're everywhere too, though. It's
no,
not
but
just one
you're
tribe.
bad jacketing the Navajos for being skinwalkers when you're doing it yourself.
Oh.
See where I'm going with this?
Okay.
They're the bad guys, not me. Then you go, but you're at the 109 degrees. That's the where you could be a shapeshifter. It doesn't matter what tribe you are. It depends how black your soul is. So now you go up to Lake Athabasca, to the Nahanni Valley, Headless Valley. What do they have up there 109th? Shapeshifters.
Oh, is that the one where they went to go kill them because they were just killing people and like disappearing people? So the tribes around
bad white people are killing each other over the gold.
Oh.
But there were these entities that would rip people apart and tear them in shreds and leave their body parts through an entire tree so people would find them shredded. That's not human.
Right.
That's not gold prospectors fighting over gold. That's something entirely different when you find a person
And that's why they
shredded and purposely put in a tree to be found that way, to warn you to get the hell out of there.
And this is Headless Lake or Headless...
Okay. Now we're talking about things that people
This is in Canada.
Entertainment, skinwalker, shapeshifters, orbs that are showing up, those superstitious Indians. Okay, one more location. 109th latitude, Montana, Glacier Lake National Park is a missile silo that's located right off the entrance of that park. This missile silo at one time had all these missiles set up to defend us against Russian aggression in the 70s at the height of the Cold War. At that 109th latitude, the same one I was telling you about skinwalkers and shapeshifters, orbs showed up to the front gate of this military base, and when it showed up to the front of the military base, it flew over the base and it shut off every nuclear missile in that missile silo so that nobody could launch anything or anything from anywhere. It shut it totally off. Now, that's not shapeshifters and that's not skinwalkers, that's national safety. At the 109th latitude, orbs came out and shut down nuclear missiles. That is not shapeshifting. That is not skinwalker activity. That is the real threat that is going on. National security. If they can shut down your nuclear missiles, what else can they do? And they're all located on the 109th longitude.
Right.
Is that a
Yeah,
coincidence?
because area, like you said, that base is there.
So that's the biggest threat. That's outside of skinwalker or shapeshifting. That one had to do with shutting down the entire nuclear base. That nothing worked. Soon as they left, everything came back on. But why they shut everything down? Nobody could launch a missile. Nobody could program.
Do you think
anything.
it was just to make a point?
What do you think, Colleen?
Yeah.
You think the ancients want this world to be blown up as much as we do? We're not as stupid as modern man. Only modern man would kill themselves to be a ruler over nothing but bones. You have a nuclear war. What are you going to be a ruler of? Skeletons? Let's get real. Right. You're going to be the ruler of the underworld when you're dead because no one's going to be here alive. Modern man is stupid. The final war is the one that's going to be the one that's going to end their world. You know, and the next war is going to be fought with sticks and stones because they're going to be that primitive again and blow themselves back into the jungles and the caves again.
Well, that reset has happened many times before.
That's why we were in jungle and caves the last time.
And I think man has been at this point in the past before and made the wrong decisions.
Man has been stupid for millions of years. That's the pattern we have problem breaking. Stupid man and humanity. I quit having sake of humanity. I changed it for the sake of the manatees. I have more faith in them than humanity right now. First rule for the Star Club, for the Star People, and why we're not allowed into the Star People Club and why we got kicked out. And what is that? Number one rule? Intelligent life does not destroy itself. If we could pass that first rule, we could get back with the Star People. But we're too stupid. We keep blowing ourselves up every time we have a chance. And then we wonder how come we never get ahead? Because we're too stupid. We keep doing it over and over.
Well,
it's like Groundhog Day.
This last 13 years, which just started on November 3rd, which is one rabbit on the year count calendar. So on the 52-year sacred year count calendar, the indigenous calendar, there's 4 quarters and they're all 13 years. We're in the last quarter of a 52-year cycle, and there are some bigger cycles because you mentioned a 520,000 year cycle, 260,000 year.
520,000 year cycle. Okay. But the main important thing is what people really need to really know now. The Aztecs feared one rabbit. Sure, it was bad luck, but why did they fear it? Because it was predicted that would be the day not only Montezuma end up dying, but the end of the Aztec Empire. When is one rabbit coming up?
Well, it just started.
No, this is 13 house. It starts next year. We got 13 years before the same thing happened to the Aztecs happens here. Are we ready? Does anybody have a plan B? No, we're too busy arguing over Republican and Democrat nonsense. And when we should be thinking about building an ark right now because we got 13 years to do it.
November 3rd was just one rabbit.
No, it was the 13th house. There's 13 years left to the next rising morning star. You always have this problem with because you and Tracy have 1 year difference. So I don't know why. You go this way, that way.
Well, this is the one that I'm doing because remember Gabe, he did it.
Well, he did it wrong. See, if it doesn't go to that number, then what you have is the wrong number. I'm telling you, one reed is going to be coming up this coming up year, and I'm trying to get Plan B together because in the year one reed, Montezuma knew it was going to be the end of the indigenous world, and in 1 year it's going to be the end of the American dream, starting in one rabbit. In other words, from 13 years from this upcoming year after this year, there's only 13 years left of this hell cycle, and it's been hell since 1492 and 1519. As of 2037 and 2038, it becomes one reed, the first day and the first year of the new 13-year heaven cycle. And what happens when it comes to that heaven cycle? Everything reverses itself with that sacred square dance. The rich man and the poor man and the powerful and the weak are dancing. But when the square dancing is over and the do-si-dos are done, and then they change places, they decide that the dance is over, they stop. And then the rich man says, oh shit, I'm in the place where the poor man used to be. And then the poor man in his dance stops and goes, oh shit, I'm in the place where the rich man used to be. And then it all changes. End of story. Then you start the next chapter. Another 520,000 years. Hope it goes better than the last one. First 260,000 was the first race of man. They blew it, and that's why they're not here.
Is that the one where they say that the people were made of trees, or their hearts were like they didn't have any?
Remember I told you about those people that knew how to move stars?
Yeah.
They had no souls. They had no conscience. They had no feeling about taking anyone's life. Make any sense?
Okay, so that was
That's why they were cannibals and headhunters, and that's why everybody was terrorizing them, because they didn't give a fuck what you were, just as long as you were nice to eat. They didn't give a fuck about your family or your feelings or any of that. You were just thrown in a pot and thrown in with a potato and a tomato and a little spices and a little water and some salt. And my ancestors were like that 150 years ago, and I have to admit it. I'm from a tribe of headhunters and cannibals, and we were doing this less than 150 years ago. I mean, is that long ago? No.
No, because I was gonna say my grandmother passed when she was my great grandmother passed. She was like 116 or something when I was 16.
I had pictures of these Northwest Coast
That wasn't that
warriors
long ago.
that are dancing with Spanish
30
skulls.
years ago. I guess that was long ago.
I have Northwest Coast warriors that are dancing with Spanish skulls wrapped around their necks like necklaces from the 1950s.
Jeez.
How long ago was that? I was born in 54.
Right.
So we were headhunting, what, 1950? And we're still dancing with heads around our necks, with conquistadors and Spaniards around our neck.
Oh.
Nothing's really changed. We just don't do this in public. It scares the tourists, and there goes the tourist dollars. They're headhunters. They're cannibals. Get out of here!
I'm sure they're not serving meat pies with people these days.
Pleasure to eat you, sir. Did you say eat you? Yes, and I meant it. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so all of this was dark at the ends, but
Yeah,
this was good information. Thank you for sharing. And if
my opinions might scare the tourists.
And can you tell people about how they can support you? What do you?
Just tell them yourself to go to our Patreon and subscribe to YouTube.
Okay.
Nothing fancy.
All right, sounds good. All right, everyone, have a good night.
Something to drink.